talking to people. Man, I always enjoy talking to every week is the great Dr. Vincent. Vincent, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you? Happy weekend.
Yeah, happy weekend to you, Vincent. A lot of people talk about eating, Vincent, don't they? Eating is one of our great pastimes.
Exactly. It is also a great activity, whether you do it by yourself or with people. It is something that brings people together. It cheers you up, and it is a big part of our life, socially as well as in terms of biologically.
One of the things I don't particularly like hearing at the moment is, we haven't talked about it before, intermittent fasting.
I know, and the reason why I thought of this topic was because just this week alone, I think 4 people had asked me about intermittent fasting, and I think it's because as the weather getting warmer, people want a quick fix, or rather, to get in shape. And I really do think that when they Google the diet that can get them in shape quicker for summer, intermittent fasting is one of the results from the Google search. And I think I would like to talk to you because we know that by talking about something, it gives people the opportunity to understand the system or the concept of this intermittent fasting, and they can then decide it for themselves, because it's not all bad, but it's not all good either.
So does intermittent fasting mean if I eat McDonald's tomorrow, I got to wait a whole week to eat it again?
That is not necessarily that, but it's not entirely false either, Richard, because you can actually eat McDonald's. Basically, you can eat anything within the window of allowance. So a lot of people do an 6 to 8 hour window, or 8 to 12 hours window of eating. So it means that you skip 2 meals, I think, or some people even skip 3 meals and only have small snacks, or they do it the other way around and they have one big meal a day. They call it OMAD. It's really big on Reddit at the moment, 1 meal a day system. But essentially, intermittent fasting is not eating for a certain amount of time during the day, and you can only eat within the allowed hours. And a lot of people found that this method actually works really, really well, because you can essentially eat anything within the 8 hours of window that you allow yourself to eat. But it doesn't come, without any downsides, because I always say that when it comes to dieting, you need to find something that is sustainable. Obviously, some people swear by it, and then they say that they have been doing this for many, many years. But I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it's practical, especially when you catch up with friends. Like, what are you going to do when you catch up with friends and it happens to be outside of the window of that you're allowed to eat? What are you going to do? Just drink water?
Yeah, it's not going to. To me, it's all too hard.
It is too hard, and but as I said before, it's not all bad. The 2 main pros or advantages of doing intermittent fasting is, the first one is weight management. Yep. And this is not something that is magical or particularly complex for us to understand, because I always say this: weight management or weight loss is mathematics. Calorie in versus calorie out. Yep. So intermittent fasting can be an effective tool for weight loss and weight management, because you're restricting the eating window. So naturally, it reduces overall calorie intake. Earlier in the show, you said that eating is some people's favorite pastime, myself included. Yeah. And when you don't allow yourself to eat for a certain amount of time, obviously you will eat less calorie, but you are still functioning, you're still doing all of these activities. And a lot of people, as a matter of fact, research shows that 80% of people, while they're on any type of diet, it doesn't mean that it's not only for intermittent fasting. When people are on diet, they actually exercise more, or they actually are more active. Not necessarily because it gives them more energy. It's because they're in the mindset of achieving a goal, which is weight loss. So if we can train ourselves in terms of focusing on the journey and the goal, it doesn't matter whether you're doing normal dieting, intermittent fasting, or simply eating healthily, you will actually lose calorie when you make sure that you balance the amount of calorie that you eat and the amount of calorie that you burn.
I mean, to me, it's just common sense. And people go, well, that's all right for you and it's all right for Vincent because, you guys go to the gym and, it's for people out there, but I really don't understand the intermittent fasting, bit. I have been on a learning process, let's say the last couple of years where, it's all about me eating a bit better, getting more exercise and, I've reaped the health benefits of it. So, telling me to go along and I've got to eat between a certain time, I can't, to me, I don't see how it works.
Yes, and that is probably one of the biggest impediment to people sticking to it. And I always say, when I say sustainable, what I meant is that you can sustain it for a long term without it impacting your life and without it impacting your health. Because a lot of times people can sustain it because they just get used to it. And some people with really, really strong willpower, when it's outside of their eating window, they really will not eat anything but only drinking water. However, for the longer term, even though it actually, in the shorter term, it actually improves your insulin sensitivity, but you're basically depriving your body from glucose, from food that then being broken down into glucose. So it means that once you get back to normal eating pattern, it can actually mess up with your blood sugar system and insulin response. And you don't want that because, again, how long are you going to sustain this only eating between 2 p.m. to 8 a.m. Every day? At one point in your life, you will go back to normal eating pattern. And because you have already trained your body to only process food during that restricted window of time, it will actually impact your whole body system. And the research have shown that for people who have done that for long term and then get off intermittent fasting, it can really mess up their metabolic system. And in turn, will prevent your body from actually burning calorie.
And it's just, to me, I mean, the eating patterns and everything like that. And, we take, everybody wants to lose weight. I understand all that. Well, not everybody, but there's a big, proportion of people wanting to go along and know that, that I can lose weight. But, as, you sent me some notes on there, if you've got a medical condition at the time or, you're breastfeeding at the time or you're trying to get pregnant, this would mess up with the whole thing, wouldn't it?
Exactly, because when you're not eating food, you're not only restricting calories, you're also restricting nutrients. We should get majority of our nutrients, vitamins, and minerals from food. And you only take supplements when you can't fulfill it from your fresh fruit and vegetables and freshly prepared foods. But for people who are undergoing either medical treatment or trying to fall pregnant, or when you're breastfeeding, or when you're on certain medication, you absolutely need to consult with your health practitioner before you embark on any diet, not just intermittent fasting, but any type of diet, because our body is a very complex biological system. Tweaking one or two parts of it, especially something as big as eating, can actually cause a lot of issues down the path, or sometimes even short term, because a lot of people, when their body can't regulate blood sugar level, when you go on fasting or intermittent fasting, it can actually cause you to be lightheaded. And for some people, it can be very dangerous. I mean, a task as simple as driving can be dangerous when your brain is not actually functioning properly.
Yeah, we need food to survive, people, but it's that balance which all goes around, I think, for it. It's just, I've heard about it. I've seen people that have done it. They've never kept up with it. And And, you know, good luck to you if you think that's the way to go along and lose weight. But no, it's not for me, Vincent, I'm afraid.
Not for me. I've tried myself because in a lot of cases, not everything, but in a lot of cases, the curiosity get the best out of me. Best of me in terms of making sure that I understand it from a first person point of view. And I tried it, and exactly like you said, I couldn't keep up with it because it's just not practical and realistic to only eat within a very restricted time window. Because again, just forget about biology for 1 second. Just say that you have the willpower to maintain it. It is also impacting your social life because again, eating is part of our tool to socialize with people or to catch up with your family. So, I mean, I grew up, my parents always make sure that we sit down on the dining table for dinner together as a family because that's when, you know, you talk to them. And now I understand that this is probably a very, very old-fashioned concept because a lot of people now, they don't actually sit on their dining table. They sit on their couch, on their phone, while looking at their phone or watching Netflix while having dinner. I do think that there's a huge benefit in using mealtime or dining together as a tool to connect with people because we live in the very, very connected world in terms of fast internet, 5G, and everything else. But sometimes socially, we're very much disconnected.
Spot on. Vincent, where can we find out more about you?
anappleaday.com.au. I would really appreciate it, guys, if you support us, especially coming up to Christmas. If you really want to give something to your friends and family, we have a range of really nice products. At the moment, we have our hand and body cream on special. We are also on special at Coles this week. Basically, in what we do, we are supporting Australian farmers. All of our products are made in Australia from Australian farmers. So not only you're supporting a small Australian business, you're supporting your health and you're also supporting the farmers. So win-win and win. I think it's a good thing.
Oh, I think it's a great thing. Vincent, we will talk to you again next week on 5AA.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Vincent. Dr. Vincent, anappleaday.com.au.